Have some tea, babe, okay? You know I have a new barber in Texas, right? I just got a new barber. You remember me telling you that he seems like a gangster?
Yes.
Like
Just met him.
he is wanted in Korea. He's a felon in Korea. And he's
What?
here. Yeah, he's wanted.
From Korea?
No, so he used to be in the army. He joined, he went there, and he met his wife there. It's his current wife right now.
Okay.
She was in Korea. But anyways, he was there for like a year and a half or 2 years, and he got in trouble there because he started drug dealing. He started dealing drugs.
While he was in the army?
Yeah, because like he said, he
Okay.
was bored and wasn't making enough money. So he started selling, he couldn't get marijuana over there, so then he started selling spice.
Like opium?
Yeah, like the spice. So anyways, he started selling it because it was hard to get over there in Korea. Anyways, he becomes this huge like drug lord over there selling spice and is like making thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, he gets caught off base one time and is AWOL because he wakes up the next morning on like a Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. So they count him AWOL. So he tries to get back on base and his card goes red. Well, then they take him to this thing and the next thing you know, into the holding area, and MPs come in and they're like, hey, put your hands behind your back, you're being arrested. So they arrest him for being AWOL.
You're using a lot of military terms that people don't know. The military police are arresting him for being AWOL.
Yes. And as they're frisking him, they find the spice. And then so they bust him for that. They find out like, you know, he's linked to all these like drug deals and stuff. And he gets like 30 days of like, he has to stay in the barracks or whatever. So anyways, he gets in a lot of trouble. He does his time, he does his 30 days, but then his chain of command, his bosses, right? They're like, oh, we don't think 30 days was long enough. We're going to do another 30 days. And he was like, the fuck? What did I do? And then so he goes back up to his barracks room, packs a bag, calls a taxi, and goes off base and never returns back to the army base. Goes out there, gets a place, starts living his life in Korea with his wife. I'm not joking.
Making it up?
No, I'm not making this up. This guy
He's
told me.
also AWOL from the army?
Yes.
Currently?
No. So let me explain this. Starts doing what he was best known for, selling drugs. He keeps selling drugs. He's like going out to these clubs and stuff. He's like giving everybody his cards. Well, he's out one day driving and he's smoking spice, and this cop goes up to him in Korea, like this Korean cop, knocks on his window. And he said, fuck that, I'm not getting caught. Like, they're going to find out I used to be in the army. And this is months later. So then he takes off, he tries running from the Korean cop. All that he went into this restaurant, and all these cops go in there and they bust him. Well, they take him back to his place. They find out he has all these drugs in his place. They're interrogating him. They're like, who are you? Like, how did you get here? Because he gave him his Mexican name. He didn't give him his real name because he didn't want them to know that he was linked to the army. So at the time, he had like all this shaggy hair and stuff. So they were like trying to figure out who he was. And there was this random guy that walks in. They're like, put your hair up like this. So he pulls his hair up, he takes a picture. And a couple minutes later, he walks back in. And he's like, this guy is a soldier. He's AWOL. MP is going to be here. He does 2 weeks in jail in Korea. And then they take him to a prison on the military installation in Korea. And he does 8 months there. So he gets out. So they send him home, and the army,
America?
yeah. So the army doesn't even know that he's married or anything. So they send him home without his wife and everything. His wife and kids are back in Korea. So they send him home. He flies back home. He gets another ticket and flies back to Korea to meet up with his wife and daughter. And he starts living his life. And what does he do that he's known best for? Selling drugs. So he keeps selling drugs. Meets with this person. And it used to be one of his old buddies in the army, and he's still in or whatnot. And they're doing a drug deal, and he gives him the spice, and then the guy gives him 520s, $100 for the spice. And then the guy, or my barber, like goes to go back out to the car from the drug deal, and he sees Korean police come up, and then he turns back around, and then there's like these U.S. people in blue jackets. And then he turns back around, and then there's even more cops in front of him. And he was like, he was gonna run, but then he kept thinking of his daughter. And then so he just like, gave up. So it was a sting operation. That friend got busted on post for some shit and ratted on him. They bring him back to his place, and they see his place is like filled with drugs. Like, this guy obviously deals drugs. and they gave him an ultimatum. They said, hey, look, like you can either give us, you know, the people that you drug deal to, like how much, when, you know, amount of times and everything, or we can put you back in Korean prison for the amount of time this investigation is going to start. So he was like, damn, man, give me a paper. Like, so he starts like ratting all these people out, like just ratting them all out. It's like day one of the investigation. They're like, okay, we're going to give you your phone back because we're a man of our word. And like we said that we were going to let you go. So they let him go. They give him his phone back and everything. This dude is like freaking out at this point. He starts packing all his bags. He starts telling his wife and everything. And so like he calls up all his people that he ratted on to tell them like, hey, change your number and everything. Like start hiding all your stuff. All his bags and everything, and goes to the airport in Korea. He's like, so he's in the airport and he knows it's Monday and he knows he's supposed to be back at the investigator's office at 3:00. And it's taken all this time to try to find this perfect flight. Well, finally he comes up with the idea to fly to LA because it's cheaper to fly to LA, I guess. So he finds this flight. They're gonna give it to him for like $3,600. And he's like, sweet. Well, the investigator, it's already like 3:00, and the investigator's called him like 3 or 4 times. He keeps picking up the phone and he's like, I'm on my way. You know, I got my kid. I'm trying to get him together right now. Little does the investigator know he's in the airport. Like, he said, fuck that, I'm about to fly out. And so 3:30 comes around, they're about to board the plane, and he's sitting there and he gets one last text message from the investigator. And the investigator was just like, you know, fuck that, like you're getting arrested, like we know what you're doing, because like you're like already so late at this point. We don't even care about you cooperating now. Like we're just gonna arrest you. So he texted him back, and he only texted him back one sentence. And he was like, catch me if you can. I'm not joking. So he gets on the plane, he flies to LA. His mom picks him up, and then he heads home. And I was sitting in the chair and I'm like, first off, this story took the entire session of our haircut. He told me this is only your second time there. He told me in complete detail. So, and he's sitting there and he's just telling me all this. And I'm like, so like, what? Like you're still wanted in Korea? And he was like, I mean, my wife told me that the charges like fall off like after 2 years. He said, but I wasn't comfortable with 2 or 3 years, so I waited like 10. And so this is the craziest part. He's going on vacation in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Do you know where he's going?
Yes, in Korea. Wow.
So this might be my barber for now.
Your barber.
But I don't know if he's coming back home. Is that not the craziest story you've ever heard of?
Yeah, I wouldn't go back there.
What? I'm going back there? This guy's good at cutting my hair.
No, I wouldn't go back to Korea.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't go back to Korea.
Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. But it's for his wife. It's for his family. Yeah. How's that for some tea?
It's crazy. How did you find all that out in one haircut?